Good morning, lovely people. Welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat. This will be my Knackers Yard. It'll be 9:15. One of my neighbours has just finished mowing his lawn, so somebody's making noise earlier than me, which is nice. Right, what's going on today? I am quite excited because I've just had a message from DPD saying that my lock set should be here this morning. So let's get ready for it. So did a bit of research last night, nipped off to Halfords early this morning. Some oil there. Engine oil there, and some transmission gear oil for the back. Now, I did a bit of research last night in terms of volumes. 2.6 for the engine oil, and for the final drive on the shafty, it is holding the bike vertically, which it pretty much is why I'm crammed in my garage, so I don't want to do it on a slope on the driveway. And it's effectively fill it up until you get to the lip mark there. So there's no measurement, there's no saying how much it takes. It's just fill it up through that tiny little hole. So I do have some syringes, so big old syringes, so I'm going to do it that way. Right, let's get set up. I'm going to do the engine oil first. I won't film that, it's dull. It's putting oil in a bike. Right, I'm in just about the most awkward filming position ever, but I've got my gear oil down the bottom there. I'm a massive fan of having these around. They're really handy to have. Just a big old syringe, a length of pipe. He says confidently, I have no idea if this is the best way to do it, but it's the way I'm going to do it. I've also no idea how much actual volume of this I'm going to need. So that's 40 ml roughly. Bang it in and see what happens. And when it overflows, I'll stop. Seems fairly logical to me. Yes, mate.
Tom said I can do that after 11. Is that alright?
Well, I'm dropping your brother at his mates at 12. So say 12 o'clock, and I'll drop you both off.
Okay.
Okay. Or about 12, because I've got to pick up Noodle from her drama.
Alright.
Okay. Domestic duties there. Dad cabs. I've never quite managed to get it so they're all out at the same time. That would be nice. Right, so that was 40. I'm on 50 this time. Oh, that might be it. I think we might be there. Right, let me get some clean cloth. I'm going to step in front of you, apologies. That mental note, get some glue roll, mate. We're running out. Right, I'm going to stick my fat heat in the way. That is brimming, which is exactly what it said. Right, vertical, it's not far off, vertical. It's a little bit too much there. So, the advantage of a syringe.
Daddy?
Yes, buddy?
Can I get something to eat, please?
Yes. Can you brush your hair, mate, because you're going to drama shortly. Cheers, buddy. It's all go today. So let's just suck out the top. And we are perfect. Right. I'm going to get that sealed off. Do a bit of domestic duties. Hopefully by the time I'm done with my bouncing around doing domestics, my lock set is here. I'm going to seal up that oil before I knock it over, because I'm rubbish at kicking things over. If you don't believe me, just watch me destroy my tea last weekend. Right, I'll get that sealed up and then I'll drop you back in. Your man's still doing his lawn. I've dropped off one kid and my kit's here. So this was billed as a 1000 rather than the 650, but it is exactly the same as the one that's come out, with the one difference being the one that come out had a broken steering lock. This one hasn't. Right, let's get this tank off, sort out my abortion of a wiring job and get all this back together. Woohoo! I'm fucking so excited. It's out. I've got a key. It's already got one of my normal key loops on it because I lose keys all the time. I can turn the fuel on. Never excited. Don't be a joke. Now the observant amongst you might pick up on some continuity issues here, partly because the bike is stripped again, partly because I tried it out as well. It didn't work, and as I did it I knew why it wasn't working. First of all, I lost spark, then I lost pretty much everything. So check the main fuse, that was fine, but when I first put it in, put the ignition in, I noticed that as I moved it, it clicked on and off. Let me see if I can replicate. I'll just drop you down a little bit and drag you in. That's not far off. Amazing camera work here, Nat. 30 budget would be pleased. I'm not going to redo it to replicate it, but essentially, even when I had my my hot wire-esque, when I twisted it, it worked, and when I didn't, it didn't. I plugged in the new ignition, and I think it just pinned all the wires back so they're in the right place. The second that I reset the speedometer cable, that runs through it. In fact, that you can see the wire cluster move. It moved something. Now I think that something is in the main power plug into the ignition, because it rattles around, and I'm not sure if you can quite see if I'm out of the direct sunlight. There's a lot of movement in there, and none on the pin, so I think that connection's come off. So let me see if I can do something about that. We'll see if we can get this bad boy making noise again. Well, that's mystery solved. It's snapped off. So when it was pushed in, it was making temporary contact. Right, let me see if I can either fix that or replace it. Right, difficult to see in the strong sunlight, but essentially that's snapped off. Now what I do have is replacements. So I'm going to see what I can do, break off the other end of that, rather than go for a fresh connection or anything like that. Just break that on, bend it on, put some shrink wrap over the top just to keep it protected. Now it's one of those classic things that if the ignition had stayed exactly where it was, that fault would probably never have manifested. There's not a lot of movement and rattle there. However, it may have done that in the middle of a ride somewhere. So, you know, I'm never glad to find an error, but at least I can fix it before it really fucks me or somebody else over. Right, let's see if I can get this all in. Right, so there we go. It's about as neat as I can do it. Got a better connection there. Let's just try and plug it in and see what happens. You're going to be staring at my arse that side, so let's have you staring at the bike. As nice as my arse is. Right. I have to remember that I'm not wearing my microphone, and therefore I do need to talk properly. Right. that together. Second attempt. Yeah, moving the wires around, I'm not getting that click, 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 click that I was before as connections were made and broken. Right, I'll get it back together and we'll try again. Right, some fundamentals of wiring later, some tagging back together again. Key, so I should try and retake that, shouldn't I? Oh look, I've got it on a key ring. Let's see if it works. Right, let's actually see if it works, shall we? Add the prime for the pump, give a couple of spats then. Fucking yes. Right. I've got time. I'm going to throw some kit on and drag it around the block because I'm brave, not stupid, and I'm not mincing around on a bike that I don't know particularly well in shorts and a t-shirt. There's some young lad hoying down the hill on a skateboard. It's probably a lot more dangerous than what I'm about to do. But right, I'm going to throw some kit on and then we'll chuck this around the block. Right, we're in the hot seat. Let's give it a go. Right, I've taken the wing mirrors off because they're fucking minging. I may have some replacements. Right, let's give it a go. Oh, I do need to adjust the levers. They're still very high. You have to kind of tractor-like lift your leg. That's my boy. Oh, this is smooth. It's got such a low centre of gravity, it just it just lollops about. Give it some wrist. Oh, speedo works. and hadn't thought to look down. Feels faster than it is actually. I mean, that's 30 mile an hour. Oh, you could doze off. It's so comfortable. It just handles all the bumps. It looks like a hardtail, but it's not. It's got that concealed rear shock and it's just soaking everything up. It's lovely. Let's do me normal. Just pull over into the shade. My indicators look fine. Lights look fine. It was going through a stage of it was going through a bit of a weird stage of shutting the engine off when the lights went on, but that was just when I'd hot-wired it. Alright, let's go. Give it a bit of rest. Yeah, that's nippy enough. That's certainly nippy enough. Oh, it's so comfortable. This is so nice. It's a very different riding experience than the little CB400. That'll be neutral. It's really very subdued, but quite nippy. I couldn't tell you at what revs because there's no rev meter on it. Do you know what? It's only single disc at the front. I've started to get used to doubles, but it's not bad actually. I'm quite impressed with that. And a drum brake at the back, and drum brakes are routinely panned for being shite, but that's fine. I mean, it's not a light bike, and it's stopping it quick enough, more than quick enough. Need to adjust that clutch in a little bit, I think, for me. And I certainly need to adjust that gear lever. It's just too high. You're probably just getting loads of crackle and wind because it's so hot. I've got my visor wide open. That might be better. And just in case I was shouting too much, which I keep forgetting cocks up my mic when I get overexcited, I just do a little bit with it down. And plus it gives me a little bit more time on it because it is just bloody lovely. Oh, see, it's got more than enough oomph. It's just so much livelier than the Viagra, than the Vigaro was. Where's the idle? That's better. That's better. I'm starting to get used to where these pegs are now as well. It's actually quite nice having your feet up at the front. And I had a surprise visitor yesterday from Mad Old Biker, one of the subscribers. It's lovely to see Paul come round for a chat, and it was one of the things he said was about be weird having your feet up on the pegs, but actually it's really quite comfortable. Surprisingly so. Let's go for it down here. Yeah, that's an easy. Oh, it's lovely. Quite lively. Just pootle through traffic. Lovely. See, it's loud enough to turn heads. People saying how quiet it is, and it is quiet compared to some of the other ones I've done, and certainly compared to that little shouty 400, CB400. Turns into neutral then. I've got to sort this pedal out. It's way too high. You can see me, or you won't be able to see me in your field of vision. I'm having to kind of wave my knee up to get it to change gear, which is not very elegant, and it kind of ruins the laid-back cruiser feel. Oh shit, just scuffed my leg then, scuffed my foot on the ground. What a brilliant little bike. Well, not little, is it? It's like a fucking barge. I love the way people like oversteer and go too wide around corners and then give you a shitty look for being on your side of the road, which they're now on. Oh, this is amazing. Scuffed my foot again. Sole of my foot. Wowzers. How fundamentally fucking cool is that? So you fell over then. Like neutral? Feels like it. Sweet. Yeah, a longer trial than I would have hoped. Well, than I expected. Mostly due to that weak wiring. But frankly, it was an easy fix once I'd identified it. But that was a bit of a heartbreaker, getting everything on and then not getting anywhere. But that is a brilliant ride. It shifts, I have to say, it shifts. It feels faster because you're lower as well, but it does. It's got it when you need it. It's loud enough without being obnoxious. You could see people turning their heads as I was cruising past, mostly probably because they were blinded by the light off some of the chrome. Some of it still needs a lot of work. But yeah, that's fucking brilliant. That's a great bike. I might see if I can ULEZ it and use this as my daily, or just use it as my daily. Well, I need to get an MOT. First things first, it needs an MOT. It's not had one for a while. So tomorrow's business is going to be, you know, the MOT-ables. So I've done all the fluids, that's fine. I need to check the brakes. I need to check up how I check a drum brake. It's down to where the pointer is, I think. So it's not, but I don't know if that's quite new or quite old. I imagine it's quite old. Front brake, I'll check the pads out. I want to strip down the front and do something with this, but fundamentally I think it's MOT-able. But we'll do more of that tomorrow. Right, thanks very much all. A bit of a pain in the arse one, but the end result was there. It runs, rides, stops, starts. It runs and rides beautifully. Using Charlie's line of tearing your arms off, it does. It's not a sports bike, but it's got more than enough oomph to drag you around when you want it. It's great. Yeah, runs, rides, starts, stops on a key. Can't ask for much more. Cheers all. Ta-da.